Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Sunday, December 15th, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most in college hoops and other sports, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. We've been red hot recently in college hoops and overall. Cash another Bank Shop best bet on Saturday with Cal, so check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Sunday in college hoops. First up, we have Central Connecticut taking on Rhode Island. This one 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Rhode Island lost its first game of the season last time out against Brown, 84-80 in double overtime. It was a great game. Brown won that one outright as the dog, but Rhode Island's still off to a great start to the season with that 9-1 record. For me, though, I think they're a little bit too big of a favorite against a strong defensive team like Central Connecticut and a team that's been battle-tested this year. Central Connecticut's played a lot of true road games. Their strength of schedule has actually been pretty tough, and you look at their 4-game win streak. I mean, they've been holding teams to under 70 points in all 4 of those games. They're 122nd in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. That's outstanding for an NEC team. You rarely see that. It's one of the weaker conferences in Division I. But Central Connecticut, while their offense struggles, they force a lot of turnovers so they can get those fast break points. They're a great defensive rebounding team, and the most key part of their defense for me in this matchup, they're very disciplined. They don't take too many fouls. Their opponents are only scoring about 13% of the points against Central Connecticut from the free throw line. For Rhode Island, that's important because Rhode Island scores a ton of its points from the charity stripe. They get to the line more than most teams in the country. So if Central Connecticut's keeping them off the line, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for Rhode Island to run up the score in this game. Give me the points here with Central Connecticut. Next up, we have Presbyterian and Miami. This one's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. We know Miami is struggling right now. They've lost 7 straight games, but a majority of those losses were to good teams. And when you look at their most recent 3 games against Arkansas, Clemson, and Tennessee, 3 very good programs, three very good teams this year. Miami was able to cover against Arkansas. They covered against Tennessee, and they were very competitive against Clemson for about 35 minutes. They blew the cover in the final moments, but 3 straight performances while they were losses straight up. Miami played quite well, and I think that this spot now against Presbyterian at home, I think it's a good get-right spot, and I think we see kind of a frustrated effort from the Canes. I think we see a blowout win from Miami. I think their offense is still very potent. Right now, 31st in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. I think Miami's defense is a little bit underrated right now. Presbyterian has a winning record at 6-5, but 2 of their wins were against subdivision opponents. They haven't really played a tough schedule. They're fundamentally not the best team, and I do think that Miami gets that big win at home. So give me Miami. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we have St. Louis and Illinois State. This one's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Now, this is an interesting game because it's really a semi-revenge game for St. Louis, and really more so for Josh Schertz and the players that he brought over from Indiana State to the Billikens this season, because St. Louis, of course, did not play Illinois State in 2024 or 23-24, but Indiana State did in conference play, and Indiana State last year was in the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament. They were, one of the first 4 out, and they had to play in the NIT. It's always crushing to have to be left out of the bracket, and especially when you have expectations of making it. And Indiana State, you could definitely make the argument that their worst loss of the season was to Illinois State. They lost 80-67 in a home game. They were a big favorite in that one. They lost by 13. You can definitely make the argument that that loss is what kept the Sycamores out of the tournament. So now Josh Schertz and some of his players, some of his best players, go to St. Louis, and they have their spot here against Illinois State to get some revenge. And revenge alone is not enough for me not enough to move the needle for me for a play. But I also think St. Louis plainly matches up well in this game. St. Louis, a team that we faded early on in the season because they had a lot of new pieces with their roster, but now with 9 games under their belt, I like what I'm seeing from the Billikens. Their losses this year were all to good teams. I think they are the better team by a good margin in this game. We're getting them at a steal of a price because of their so-so start on paper and the fact that Illinois State has a winning record. I think St. Louis is the much better team and playing with revenge with Josh Schertz in those Sycamores. So give me St. Louis in this one. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we have Arkansas State and UAB. This one's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Now, we backed both of these teams recently. UAB in their last game against Prairie View, That was a win and a cover by a score of 95 to 66 for the Blazers. And then Arkansas State, we took plus the points against Memphis. I didn't think they had too much of a chance at winning that one outright, but they won by 13 points over Memphis. A huge upset win, 85 to 72. But in this matchup, I do think because of that upset win, the 8-3 record, and the fact that UAB is just 5-5 and pretty mediocre against the spread, we're getting a really good price with the home team Blazers in this game. And I do think UAB is the much better team. I really like the fact that they're a strong offensive rebounding team, and Arkansas State has struggled on the defensive glass. I look for UAB to get plenty of second chance opportunities. That offense was excellent in that game against Prairie View, 95 points, and they really got going from the perimeter. This is a decent three-point shooting team. Even though their numbers on paper so far are not good, I think they improve as the season goes along, because last year and in the previous few years, this has been a good perimeter shooting team under Andy Kennedy. I like UAB to make a statement win in this one. I'm going to go with the Blazers at home. Next up, we have San Francisco and Loyola Chicago. This one's 6:30 Eastern on ESPN+. I think San Francisco is the better team here. And by the way, this is a neutral site game in Wisconsin. I think we're getting a really good price with the Dons because Loyola Chicago on the other side is 8-0 to start the season. And while it's really impressive to start the year 8-0, Loyola Chicago has played one of the weakest schedules in college basketball, ranked 360th in overall strength of schedule. San Francisco's already played Boise State. They beat Boise State by 11 points. They played Memphis. They played Clemson. Both of those were neutral site games. Played a neutral site game against Fordham. So I think San Francisco is the better team by a good margin in this one. Defensively, especially, shot quality-wise, they force tough shots. They're forcing turnovers. Good rebounding team. I just think the San Francisco is the more balanced team, more battle-tested, and we're getting a decent price with them because of that 8-0 start for Loyola Chicago. So give me San Francisco. They're a decent favorite in this one for a reason. I think the Dons win this one by a good margin. And that's it. Those are the games for Sunday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And put those college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.